So Earthworm Jim is a game that has ruined many lives. Not really, but it is a very hard game. Even when I play it nowadays, it's pretty goddamn hard. The PC version I beat when I was a child, but I would not have been able to beat this game as a child because I wasn't quite as persistent at video games and my hand-eye coordination wasn't quite as good. The reason I could beat it on the PC was because you had infinite continues, not so much... I like this cow launch. It's completely pointless. The cow never comes back. You'd think it would show up near the end of the level and fall on the boss or something. This game has really good graphics, and it's very difficult. It's one of the hardest platformers on the Super Nintendo. I think it's on the Genesis too, but I vastly prefer the Super Nintendo version of most games, including this. And in my opinion, at least, the reason that it is so difficult is largely because you have to do everything a certain way, and there's a lot of secrets and things, and once you figure them out, the game gets a lot easier, but navigation is never really easy in this game. There's no map, and the levels are kind of labyrinthian. The first few are, the last few aren't. Stage 1 is really easy, as is Stage 2, aside from the boss. The game doesn't really get tricky until Stage 3. The last few stages are a genuine pain. But yeah, right about here, there's an extra life you can get here, but right about here is where this level, it's a little bit trickier. Not too much. There's 2 bosses. I think this is just, yeah. There's an extra life a little ways ahead of here. But yeah, there's 2 bosses and they come kind of one after the other, and they're both really easy on this stage. Next stage, they're significantly more difficult. But yeah, Earthworm Jim, if you haven't played the game, he is an earthworm in a suit. And he got this, I forget the story, but he gets this, he's just like a regular worm, but he gets the spacesuit. In fact, you leave the suit a couple times in the game. It's very creative. And your health is symbolized by the atoms, and they're represented as a percentage, which is already a lot harder for a kid to do because you have to look at the... Although it teaches kids about percentages, so that's good. But yeah, there's another thing, you have to target the enemies and hold the button down, which is not something you do in most games. It's really a shooting game in terms of that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't really have much... It's just hard. It's hard to get used to the controls, and it's hard to figure out everything. And there's a hard mode also, but it's not really that much harder. Once you know how to beat the levels, the game is just easier in general. But it actually takes a couple hours to really familiarize oneself with the controls because they are honestly a little wonky at times. There's a couple of glitches also. Here's the extra life. It's hard to miss that. The only way you can miss it, I think, is if you come up the other way. But anyway, here's the first boss, and he's very easy if you have enough, See, your weapon is indicated by the bottom left, and there's 2 types of weapons in this game. In the PC version, I think there's a lot more, but they kind of nerfed it in this version. But yeah, the 2 weapons don't really matter because the only weapon you're going to use is going to be this blaster, because you can't swap the other one out. So you get 1 shot with it, which is usually used to kill a crow or something. But it's completely worthless. But because the game is so difficult, you better get damn used to just you can also use the whip as a weapon, but it's almost always worthless. The gun also refills when it's low. This is the second boss, by the way. There's no boss music on this stage, it's just this. He is a redneck on a, I don't even know, on a monorail, or what do you call those things? I don't know, it's almost like a ski lift or something, who spits fish at you. Vomits fish, I guess. He's just eating a lot. He just ate tons of fish. I don't know. There's probably a sexual euphemism in there, but I don't know what it is. Actually, I do. Vaginas smell like fish, is what I meant to say. Anyway, all you really need to do here is just this over and over again. You just shoot the... It's actually better to whip because you don't use ammo, but I already have so much ammo, it doesn't really matter that much. I think he takes like one more hit. He's very easy. And I'm going to show you the trick that'll make this game possible, because it's almost impossible without this trick. It's not a trick really, but it's something that you do to get continues in what is actually a bonus stage, even though it's not advertised as a bonus stage. And the explosions also come out of his ass, so I guess that's like, I don't know. He just had some really bad fish. I don't fucking know. But yeah, there's only like 8 stages. It's hard to tell what's a stage and what's not. But yeah, after every... You can also hit buttons here. And he only says groovy. In the other game, it's cows. It's a lot funnier in Earthworm Jim 2. Not even funnier, it's just weird. Anyway, whatever. So here, these blue balls. I don't know what it is with games and blue balls. I think it's a euphemism also. Because if you're playing a lot of video games, your girlfriend will give you blue balls. Is the idea, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, if you collect 50 of these, you're supposed to race, and this guy's called Psychro. You're supposed to beat him in this race, but that's not as important as collecting 50 of these blue balls, because you'll get an extra continue, which is 4 extra lives. So this electric thing, the red thing boosts you, the electric thing creates a barrier. But yeah, it's more important to just don't even worry about winning the race, and just get those stupid balls, because you need 50 of them. And yeah, and when I see him coming, I'll use the barrier, because if you touch him with the barrier, he gets knocked back. And that makes things a little easier. Now I got 50, and the game doesn't tell you that it's 50. I had to guess, because there's roughly 50, but if I get 50 and finish... But if I get 45, I don't, so it's 50, and yeah. The fact that the game doesn't tell you or even suggest this is a little cheap, because you would wonder what those are for, but yeah, if you get 50 of them on every bonus stage, you get a continue. So you can get up to like 6 or 7 continues, I think. And they're symbolized by a can of worms, because it's a joke, I guess, I don't know.